Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members of the House Judiciary Committee. I'm very glad that Representative Filippi is back because I have the results and the questions from the spring poll. There's several copies of them if you want to pass those along with the source for further information. Good evening. My name is Nan Heru. I will be brief. I am on the board of the Rhode Island Coalition Against Violence, and I am testifying tonight in support of House Bill 5345, keeping guns off RI K-12 school property, and in support of House Bill 5155, limiting high-capacity gun magazines to 10 bullets. These bills will reduce the risk of gun deaths and injuries in our state while respecting the right to bear arms under the Second Amendment. The No Guns in Schools Bill 5345 exposes school children to not passing it exposes school children to the risk of accidental shootings, which by far outnumber the deaths or the injuries or the occurrences of school shootings. They are about 3% of mass shootings in schools. So, gun owners are urged to keep their guns locked and unloaded in homes where children reside. If guns are allowed on school property, including sports fields, school buses, and kept loaded in a purse, a pocket, a desk drawer, maybe in a holster, how are we to keep students safe from an unintentional discharge or from a student taking that gun? The liability to schools is guaranteed to result in higher insurance rates. Let's think about the issue of economy, and which has been seen already in several states where guns are allowed in schools. Let me also address the gun-free zone issue. Gun-free zones do not attract shooters. Every case that's been studied, 90% of the time, the shooter had some relationship with that location. It was not because there was a gun-free zone sign on the window, which is not mandated, by the way, by this law. There's no need to put that up. I visited lots of federal buildings when I was on a recent road trip out west, and all of those facilities on the federal national parks had big circles with guns, no guns allowed. Why, if we think guns make us safer, are guns not allowed in this building, in courthouses, in post offices, in airports? If guns truly made us safer, why would we not allow them in these buildings? I think it's because we all innately know they do not keep us safer. Limiting the number of bullets, as in House Bill 5155, in high-capacity magazines to no more than 10 is a step in the right direction to keep our streets and public spaces from becoming war zones. I know I'm sounding emotional, but I don't want to see everybody carrying a gun. We talk about more concealed weapons. No, we don't need more guns. We are the only developed nation in which 33,000 people a year die from gun-related violence. And more than 10 times that. I just recently attended the School of Public Health at Brown University just last Thursday had a gun lecture, which was amazing. The research that's been done, the man who did the lecture was Dr. Sandro Galea, I believe his name is, very well respected, dean of the School of Public Health at Boston University, and the charts and the facts, and he's drawn on many studies throughout the country, FBI, Harvard studies, CDC, NIH, and Stanford were just a few of the places. One of the things that struck me incredibly about his talk was the fact that no matter how high the death rate is, The rate of someone surviving a gunshot is about 10 times that. So if there are 33,000 people who die each year, there are 330,000 who are injured. And guess what? The cost to take care of someone who survives a shooting averages out to $700 per person per year. This was from Dr. Galea's research. So with over 300 million people living in America, that adds up to more than $210 billion a year. Isn't that money better spent on other necessities like education and basic health care for all? I am opposed.
So you would eliminate all guns everywhere?
I'm sorry?
So you would eliminate all guns everywhere?
I'd love to do that, but
okay, all right, thank you.
I don't have any say over the Second Amendment, so yeah.
Well,
No,
actually, that's not
no.
true. I mean, there is a procedure to change the Constitution, so that's an inaccurate
I would
statement.
not say I would eliminate all guns.
Well, you just
Certainly
did.
There are some. I'd love it, personally.
Okay,
but
thank you.
I agree. There are certainly times when we need protection, but I think we could do a lot more with that money to make sure fewer people get into the crime scene. I'd also like to state that I am opposed to House Bills H5279, 6039, and 6040. I think the Attorney General's representative did a beautiful job explaining the reasons. I learned a lot from listening to her. Currently, if that reciprocal agreements are reached, there are currently 12 states in the United States that do not require permits, training, or background checks in order to carry a concealed weapon. If reciprocity becomes the law of the land, in the federal sense, it would be an extreme encroachment on states' rights and jeopardize the safety of all U.S. citizens. I'm here for questions.
Any questions for Nan? Representative Flippy.
Just briefly, Mr. Chairman, you asked, maybe rhetorically, why do we disallow guns, firearms from airports, courthouses, and this building, but not schools? And I think the answer is that those buildings are heavily armed by government officials.
Not necessarily. The post office, you can't carry a gun in the post office. There's no metal detector. The federal government buildings that I visited in my state park, treks, or national parks, there were no metal detectors there.
That's federal law. So we're doing state law, airport, courthouses.
Why, if they're so good at protecting and keeping people safe, should we keep guns out of those buildings?
Because I think that those buildings are protected by armed government agents. And for me, if we're going to pass a law like this, I think we have to at the same time mandate that our schools be heavily guarded by armed government agents as well. We may disagree on that. I just see if we ban guns from schools, we would at that point have to
However, with a high-powered, high-capacity magazine and an assault weapon, anybody could go right in and take out those guards at the front entrance to this building, and there'd be nobody here.
Don't give anyone any ideas.
Guns are the problem. Guns are the issue.
I think that crazy people are the problem.
No, actually, that's not what studies show. More mental health illnesses, people with mental health illnesses are more likely to be victims than perpetrators. That's very well documented from a lot of sources.
They're more likely to be victims than perpetrators, but are they more likely to be perpetrators than people without mental health issues? Because the person who shows up to a government building with a long rifle and just starts shooting people is sick.
Certainly I would say so too, but he may not be diagnosed. There may be no diagnosable, what do they call it, a MSD2, the manual, what is it? the Bible of the diagnoses. We have doctors here. What am I trying to say? Thank you. It may not even be a classified diagnosis. People who have anger and management and fits, they're not designated as mentally ill. They may have anger problems.
And I think that's why we need a robust community of CCW holders.
Oh, okay. Who's to say they are not the ones with the anger? In fact, I
think a murderer is going to get a gun. I could go down the street right now and buy an unlawful firearm, even if I'm forbidden from owning one. But it's the truth.
It's sad.
It's the truth, and we would love to live in a perfect world where that wasn't the case. But it is the case, and that's not going to change. And I want law-abiding, trained citizens.
Look at all the more developed countries, England, France, Canada, Australia, all of the countries where guns are pretty much very well controlled. There we are, what is the number, 7 times their rate of gun deaths in America because of the profusion of guns.
I don't think you will ever eliminate guns from the United States. That may be your goal, and we may say that
I'll never what?
We'll never eliminate the robust firearms culture in the United States.
Well, I'm going to make it an effort.
I understand. And if you're successful at that point, maybe your bill would make sense.
Okay.
But until that happens, and I pray it doesn't, because I think there are a lot more problems that come along with not having firearms.
Step.
But until you can eliminate the robust gun culture in this country, it does not make sense to exclude law-abiding citizens from schools.
When we don't pass bills like this, we continue to feed the gun culture.
What you have to do, you have to organize to repeal the Second Amendment, as Chairman Keeble.
No, I find it very refreshing that Nan had the courage to come up here and say she would eliminate guns, because I think many people on her side of the argument feel that way, and they have not said it, and I give her a lot of credit for saying it.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
I do too, and excellent testimony too, for real.
I'm sorry, Representative Roberts, did you have a... Yes.
Yes, if you don't mind, Nan, I'll call on the representatives.
I'm taking it.
Representative Roberts.
Thank you.
You gotta love me.
I just want to ask, do you feel safe in this building?
Do I feel safe in this building? Well, coming in the front door sure felt like there was a lot of manpower, whatever power.
Yeah.
But I happen to know that some of you guys carry concealed in here, so no, I don't feel safe.
Okay, well, even if you didn't know that, because that's your personal opinion, but even if you didn't know that, with the Capitol Police out there being armed and watching the building, do you feel safer?
Well, I could say, what if the guy down there with the gun on his shoulder or hip, whatever, had a really bad argument with a friend today. His wife is leaving him. He found her with another man. And if he came in that day and was ready to express the anger and blow up, see, that's just the issue. There is just too many variables in this situation. I really don't trust people with guns.
Okay, I'm just, I think what I'm
Honest
saying
enough?
is, okay, I think the reason why I'm asking you that is because you said yes, you don't feel safe with guns. However, a person who wants to murder or kill, even if you take away all the guns, they're going to go get a knife. They could hit you with an automobile. If they're deranged, they're deranged. So they're going to find a way, no matter what.
This is an argument that I found the answer to at the lecture that I attended at Brown University. Yes, there are plenty of other methods to kill people or kill yourself, but none as lethal as guns. None. Right? Anyway.
Okay, well, I don't know. To me, no matter what means, if they're going to kill you, they're going to kill you. It's all lethal.
Oh.
That's it, no matter which means they choose.
Fatalistic attitude.
But just want to point that out. Thank you.
Okay.
Anything further for Nan? Thank you very much, Nan.
Thank you.